So I just wanted to do a video about the development of our garden. This is what our garden currently looks like on the 19th of September 2022. But it hasn't always looked like this. So when we bought our house in September 2018, this is what our garden looked like. This picture is actually from the listing from when we bought our house. We didn't take any photos before we started the development of the garden. But there were slabs all down the one side, and then the rest of the garden was primarily gravel. Although when we dug the pathway off, that was stepping stones and gravel on top of tarmac, on top of slabs. That was a fun job to remove. There wasn't really very much life in the garden. It was very bare. This is the view from the other end of the garden, towards the house. So you can see there's a shed. The shed is where the greenhouse is now. But we cleared everything out to start again. So once we'd started, it's just another couple of pictures from that time. You can see that we'd removed the slabs, and there was just a really thick layer of sand all underneath the slabs. And you can really see, you can really see there was grass coming through on the gravel and this little brick wall on the right hand side that we removed when we dug everything out. So this is from just after we had the first lot of digging done. So you can see there's like a ridge towards the house in the garden. So where the grass is now was about 30 centimetres higher than where it currently is. We'd lost a whole gravel board at the bottom of the fencing, so we dug all that out. So weren't putting any strain on any of the fencing, and removed all that soil, and got round and we eventually removed all of the sand from the other side of the garden. So this is March 2020. So just after the lockdown was announced, we decided that we needed some outdoor space. We have a 7-year-old who at the time was 4, and if we were going to be doing homeschooling, then we needed some outdoor space. So we added this additional patio area, and that was initially all we were going to do with the garden. We just wanted some outdoor space for our little one to play on and to learn on, and to just extend the house because we didn't know how long we were going to be in lockdown for at that point. And that was just going to be that. We were just going to have that done, have a table and chairs and a parasol out there, and leave the rest alone, which didn't happen. This is just a video of that time. So we decided if we were going to continue with the garden, that we would lay some grass. Now this grass looks absolutely terrible. I laid this myself, with a bit of help from my husband and my daughter, and we laid it on the hottest day that year. I think it was the middle of May, beginning of June, and it was just terrible. You can see it all looks really brown and dead. And my husband was really worried that we'd wasted a load of money on this grass if it wasn't going to come back through. But as you can see, it did come back through, and it was lovely and lush after not very long. And you can also see we had the pathway redone. So at this point we weren't really doing anything with the other side of the garden. On the other side of the path, we were just getting the grass into just looking nice. So when we decided to start on the other side of the garden, we tried to plant a tree where this manhole is, and quickly found the manhole and realised we were not at proper ground level for that side of the garden. again, like the side with the grass on it had been built up much higher than it should have been over time. So we kept digging and digging and digging, and eventually we got down to finding the manhole and this concrete L shape, with also some bricks that we believe might have been a previous greenhouse base. So that was interesting. And every time we tried to dig along the fence line to plant trees and plants and things, we kept finding concrete. So we quickly had to work out a different plan with how we were going to manage that. So we decided on raised beds. So I made these little box frames out of decking boards that I painted purple because I like purple. And that kind of solved the issue of all the concrete and things. That gave us an extra few centimetres of height so that we can plant into these planter boxes. They are put onto liner. The liner under the two big L-shaped ones that you can see on the right hand side here that are fitted there, that's been cut so it's open to the earth underneath. But where the boxes have been put onto the concrete bits, I've left the liner in play and we're just working with the height that gives us. So this is early 2021. I think this was January because of the snow. And it just gives you an idea of what kind of was going on then. We'd got plants and cuttings that we'd overwintered. I think they are Crocosmia that my friend gave me. That I'd split up and just left outside. And they did alright for 12 months, and then they didn't come back this year, so we've changed them for something else. All a little bit of a mess because of the winter. We'd got chairs everywhere and my daughter's playthings was everywhere. And then I spent an evening planting up this blueberry bed. It's still there, but I do need to do some cuttings off the blueberries and possibly move the blueberries because I think it's a bit small for them now. But for the last kind of 18 months, it's done really, really well. And the blueberries really liked being in there with the acidic soil. And it was nice coming out of our back door to take the berries off and just take them straight into the kitchen. That's my that's my daughter playing on the grass. And you can see we've got our cherry tree in the ground, and the camellia and the fir tree is just behind my daughter. So this was a bit later on in the year where we hadn't got any more of the gravel or beds down or anything. It was all becoming a bit overgrown. But we got some peas planted, which did really well, and some sunflowers and other bits and pieces that were looking quite good at that time. And then before we had the wooden raised beds put in, I was having a play around with some of these plastic raised bed frame things that I got from Aldi. They were alright. They weren't really what I was looking for, but they were cheap and I could use them to just mark out what I wanted to do. We'd also decided that we were going to move some of the concrete that was there, so I used a shovel to get the concrete out so that we could plant underneath and not have that. So that was useful. And then we've just got a bit more of the gravel in at this point. These are the acers that are more established now. They're about 18 months old now. That's when I planted them in the back border. And this is our fruit trees. So we have duo fruit trees. So our apples, our pears, our cherries, our plums have all got two varieties on each plant. We do have 6 now, but I've only got 4 in this photo. And I'm hoping that they're really good for us. Our cherry that's planted in the border is a duo cherry. I think it's a Stella and a Morello cherry, and that's even from the very first year that we had it has always produced a couple of cherries, and it's getting more and more each year. But this year the birds got to them before I could. And this is our seedling tray in March. So I'd started rhubarb and cucumbers and peppers and flowers. The rhubarb did well, so that's probably one of the rhubarb seeds there is the big rhubarb plant that I've got in the raised bed now. The flowers did really well. I ended up giving away quite a lot of them to friends and colleagues at work. All my cucumbers and all my peppers all died. So they were being taken in and out at this point because I didn't have a greenhouse or anywhere warm really to keep them. And they were, as you can see, they were all a bit leggy and stretching for the light, so we just wrote them off and composted them. And this was just the start of the raised bed side of the garden when they were being built. So a storm took out our fence panel, which is why we opened up this part of the garden where the fencing is towards back, the wooden fencing that's down. So we had the gravel walls took out, the panels took out. We left the gate in because we knew that we were going to have the greenhouse fitted at this point. And this shows you the additional parts behind the greenhouse that we are now working to clear. So all of the soil and things is left over from when we were having the garden dug off in 2020 for the grass, and we've just been slowly using the soil and removing it. So we're just starting to tidy it up properly now so that we can use this piece of land. And this is from a bit further back in the garden. You can see our bird bath and some other bits and pieces of plants that were waiting to be planted out. We did have some wildflower seeds planted underneath our fruit trees, but I didn't really like how that was looking, how that was going, so I've removed them and I'm not doing that again. And then in this border along the right hand side we did have blackthorn for sloe berries planted, but they weren't doing very well, so I removed all of those. I think half of them died, and then the last ones that were left we tried to replant and they just did not take. So we just left that, and now there's the hydrangeas and the azaleas are there, being supported by nice compost while we get all this, while we wait for them to establish. And then this is just a look at the garden with the greenhouse. So the greenhouse we ordered from the greenhouse people. It was a really good package. It's a Simplicity Classic. It was on sale when we bought it on the Easter sale. It came with all the staging. We had it built up by a local installer because I didn't trust myself to use that much glass. It's a really good greenhouse, but because it was built in June, we haven't really been able to do much with it, just because it was the wrong time of year. So I'm hoping that this winter we can really get started with growing things and having seeds in there and getting a head start on some planting. We did have some tomatoes in there this year that did really well, but yeah, we're just beginning the greenhouse journey. But through all the heat waves this year, it did get up to over 50 degrees in there. So I'm hoping that next year it helps us to really get on top of our growing early, and that we managed to get some peppers this year and some cucumbers hopefully. So this is just I went to Asda and ended up finding that they got a load of stuff on sale. So all of this garden stuff in this photo cost me less than £10. So as you can see, I went back to Asda afterwards and bought some more. So the propagators were like 30p, I think. The packets of pots and the fibre trays were 10p a packet to 20p a packet. It was really cheap. The terracotta pots was 20p, I think. The seeds are the most expensive things. They were £1 for each seed pod, but I'm hoping to get a lot of use out of these this year. So this is all the stuff that you see in the window of the greenhouse. And that's really it. That's really an overview of our garden, and we're back to where it was previously. So thank you for watching this video. I'm hoping to use vlogging as a bit of a record keeping of our garden and see where we go. Yeah, so thank you again, and I'll see you soon.